Hello, third grade. So you can see top right corner, this is a lesson 97, describe plane shapes. Now this box right here has lots of vocabulary words. So to make the vocabulary words stand out, I'm going to use a highlighter. So the first one is point, an exact position or location. It looks like a dot, but it's not a dot. It's actually a point. The next one is a line, which is a straight path that goes in two directions without end. So you can see that there's little arrows on each end, meaning that they go on forever. The next vocabulary word is end points. You can see they look like points, correct? But they're end points, the points that are used to show segments of lines, meaning that it's going to stop them. Going into that, we have a line segment, which is part of a straight line and has two endpoints. Endpoint here, endpoint here. And then you have a ray that has part of a straight line that has one endpoint, and then it continues on in one direction. So it has an endpoint, but then it has an arrow. So this ray is going to go to the right and keep going. It was the opposite way, and the endpoint was here, and your arrow was to the left. It means that the ray is going to go to the left. Now, we have more vocabulary words. We have a plane shape is a shape on a flat surface. It is formed by points that make curved paths, line segments, or both. Plane shapes can be open or closed. It's pretty simple when it comes to open and closed. So when you have a closed shape, starts and ends with the same point. So like if it starts here, it's going to go all the way around and end right back there too. But where if you have an open shape, does not start and end at the same point. So if I start here like on this S, but I end all the way down here, it's open, it's not closed. So looking at this triangle, it is a closed shape. Would you agree with that, right? It's closed. It has three line segments, meaning 1, 2, 3 line segments. And the line segments meet with endpoints. Right? Here's an endpoint, here's an endpoint, and here's an endpoint. Okay, so to practice the vocabulary words, we have 1 through 8 on the front side. So number 1, I see a line, right? But is it a line or a line segment? Going back up here, a line has 2 arrows, right? 1 on each end, where a line segment has 2 endpoints. So looking at number 1, do you see arrows or do you see endpoints? I'm seeing endpoints, so that makes number 1 a line segment. Number 2, is it a point or a ray? Well, it kind of looks like a dot. Oh, but wait. In math, do we say it's a dot? No, we don't say it's a dot. It's actually a point. Number 3, we have a shape, and it wants to know if it's closed or open. So think, if I start here and I go all the way around, do I end at the same spot? I don't. So that means it makes it an open shape. Now for number 4, if I start down here and I go all the way around that shape, oop, did I end up at the same location? So if I ended up in the same location, it means it is a closed shape. Numbers 5 through 8, it's asking you whether it's open or closed. Take a look at number 5. Is it open or closed? Is there a gap? Ooh, I'm seeing a gap. So that makes number 5 open. Number 6 kind of looks like a Pac-Man, right? Or like, who ate one slice of the apple pie? It is open here, right? There's a gap here, but think about it. Goes all the way around and ends the same spot that it started at. So this number 6 means that it is closed. Number 7 with an arrow. If I start and stop, if I start here, go all the way around. Did I end at the same location? I did. So that means number 7 is closed. Number 8, if I start up here in the top left corner, go all the way around. Oh, did I end at the same location? No, I didn't. So if you don't end at the same location, remember it is an open shape. Here's the back of 97. Now, I think you guys should be able to do this all on your own, but I just want to kind of go over it. 1 through 4, you're going to go through and you're going to mark how many line segments there are. What I suggest, either with a color pencil or your highlighter, go through it. So number 1, so there's 4. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I agree that number 1 has 4 line segments. You're going to do that through 1 through 4. 5 and 6, you're going to tell me whether it's open or whether it's closed. Remember, open, it does not start and stop at the same location. Closed means it starts and stops at the same location. And then you have story problems for 7 and 8. Okay. Carl wants to show a closed shape in his drawing. Show and explain how to make the drawing a closed shape. Right now, I'm thinking this is kind of an open shape. So show me how and explain how you make that a closed shape. Number 8, the shape of a fish pond at a park is shown below. Is the shape open or closed? Tell me below. Hello, 3rd grade. Okay, this is lesson 98. Describe angles in plane shapes. You're going to notice I have 3 different colors of highlighter here. I have in blue, a right angle forms a square corner. So you can see right here, it's formed, remember, an angle is formed by 2 rays and has a little square in the middle. That means it is a right angle. Then in purple, some angles are less than a right angle. So at this dotted line, that's where it would be for a right angle. Now this angle is smaller than it, so it's going to be less than a right angle. Then in green, sometimes it's greater than a right angle. So once again, that dotted line shows that it would be a right angle, but it's not less than, it's actually greater than. So once you take a look at this shape right here, and it wants to describe what angles you see. Well, right here, I see 2 angles that have that perfect corner, that perfect square corner. That means they are going to be right angles. So I have 2 right angles on this shape. 2 right angles, right? I have a right angle, and I have a right angle. Okay, then I have 3 more angles to take a look at. Looking at these 3, it looks like these 2 are the same. This one is different. Now this one, I'm taking a look at it first because I don't think, it's definitely not a right angle. It doesn't have a perfect corner, but it's not bigger than a right angle. It's actually less than a right angle. So there is 1 angle that is less than a right angle, which is right here. And then taking a look at my other 2, they're not going to be less than a right angle. They're actually greater than a right angle. So that means I have 2 angles that are greater than a right angle right here. So that's 93, lesson 93. There's 3 things that you are learning. If it's a right angle, less than a right angle, or greater than a right angle. So now we're going to apply that with 1 through 6. 1 through 3, it's going to tell you, it's going to give you 1 angle, and it wants to know, is it right angle, less than a right, or greater than a right? So let's take a look at number 1. Is it a right angle? Is it greater than a right angle, or is it less than a right angle? I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be less than a right angle, right? So I'm just going to put that in purple. That way it kind of reminds you that number 1 is less than a right angle. Let's take a look at number 2. Is it a right angle? Is it a perfect square? I don't see a perfect square. Do you? Is it smaller? I don't think it is. It looks pretty large. So that means it is greater than a right angle. Now taking a look at number 3, I see a square in that corner. When it's a perfect square in the corner, remember up here, a right angle forms a square corner. So number 3, because of that little box right there, that's telling me that number 3 is a right angle. Number 3 is a right angle. Now numbers 4, 5, and 6 is a little different. It's just like this one where we have to describe how many angles do we see of what. So in number 4, I see 4 angles, correct? Now all 4 of them have those squares in them. If all 4 of them have the squares in them, Is that a right, less than a right, or greater than a right? And if I remember, if it has that perfect square in it, that means they're right angles. So I have 4 right angles. Well, didn't I use all of them up then? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I have 4 right angles, do I have any that are less than a right? Nope. Do I have any that are greater than a right? No, I do not. Okay, going to number 5. I should see one right off the bat, I see I spy with my little eye. I see this one right here. Remember, if it is a perfect square, that means it is a right angle. So if it's a right angle, I know I only have one of them. And let's see, how many angles do I have total here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to have a total of 6, and I've used one of them. Okay, so looking at these, do any of them look small? Remember, small, or do all of them look bigger than a right angle? And I'm kind of looking at this, and I don't see any of them that are less than a right angle. I keep seeing all of these big ones. Like right here is a large one. Right here is a big one. Here is a large one. Here is a large one. Here is a large one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greater than a right angle, which means that there is 0 that's less than a right. Then looking at number 6, do I see any perfect squares? No. So right away I know I have 0 right angles. Now I gotta look for, is there any of them that are less than a right? Remember, less than a right. Any of them that are smaller? Any of them that are super small? I see actually 2 of them right off the bat that are super small. These bottom 2 right here look like they are small. So I'm gonna have 2 that are less than a right. But then what about these 2 up here? Are they less or are they greater than? And I'm kind of thinking that they're greater than a right. So that means there's 2. Right now I have 4 angles. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are correct. So remember, describe angles in a plane shape. We have a right angle, which is a perfect square. We have less than a right angle or greater than a right angle. Okay, now taking a look at lesson 98, on the back side, it is identical to the front side. 1, 2, and 3, you're telling me if it's a right angle, less than a right, greater than a right angle, and number 1 is telling you that it's less than a right angle. 4, 5, and 6 is just like the front. You're going to go through and tell me how many angles of each. How many right angles do you have? How many less than a right? How many greater than a right do you see? And then 7 and 8, you have problem solving. So number 7, Jeff has a square piece of art paper. He cuts across it from one corner to the opposite corner to make 2 pieces. What is the total number of sides and angles in both of the new shapes? Remember, draw a picture. So first thing, it talks about a square. So what I would first be doing is I'm going to draw a picture of a square, or I can even have a square paper right next to me. And then I'm going to cut across or draw a line from one corner to the opposite corner. Number 8, Kaylee tells Amy that the shape of a stop sign has at least one right angle. Amy says that there are no right angles. Who is correct? Kaylee or Amy? And don't forget, here in bold it says explain. You cannot just tell me Kaylee or Amy. You got to tell me why they are correct.